Tourism Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi-Ngubane says her department intends to start work with the sector to implement a recovery plan as soon as possible. Now, she spent the day explaining the various tourism activities that will be allowed under lockdown level 2. The minister says she's dedicated to ensure that no tourism facility becomes the source of a COVID-19 outbreak. Travel between provinces is now allowed and restrictions on the use of beaches and parks has been lifted. Kubayi-Ngubane joins me now for more. Good evening, Minister. It's a pleasure to have you with us tonight. Firstly, when we take a look at the industry as a whole, are you hopeful that the domestic travel market is going to save the entire tourism sector?
Good evening, Kathy, and to your listeners, to your viewers. Not at all. We don't think that the domestic tourism market will save the entire tourism. We do understand that, as we said, it's one step at a time for us. We started with the intra-provinces, where you would only be able to move within your province, and we're starting to make sure that people can actually explore their own provinces. Now we've moved to inter-provincial activities, where we are encouraging South Africans to explore the country beyond their own provinces. Now, we will see full recovery once the borders have been opened and full tourism has come to life. As it is yet now, we are not yet there, and that's why we are saying we have started the journey. And that journey begins now with the inter-provincial movements, because we do believe that that brings quite a lot of activities in terms of our sector.
Are there things that the players within the local tourism sector could be doing right now to make it easier for South Africans to travel, or even to incentivize South Africans to travel? And I wonder what some of those ideas are that you may be looking at with them, especially from a department perspective.
No, we definitely do have conversations with our partners in our sector, because you find that most of our sector people would say to us, our product is not designed for local market. Right now, we do not have international tourists, so many of them, we've encouraged them to redefine and redesign their products to suit the domestic market so that they are not left out. So issues such as pricing, where you find that the pricing was actually catered and designed for $1 and a euro, which when you're using a rand is coming to a lot of money. Whereas because now we do not have international tourists, for them not to be left behind, they will have to redesign their products, make pricing easy for South African, accessible for South Africans, so that they can also contribute and support, because we've appealed to South Africans to support the sector, and therefore we're expecting that the sector as well will be ready and making their product suitable for the domestic market.
When you take a look at the international market and the kind of contribution that it would make to the sector as a whole, would that be a good enough reason for you to go before the National Coronavirus Command Council and speak to your colleagues and say, I think it's time for us to reopen the economy, to reopen our borders?
No, definitely. The conversations continues, Kathy. Not that the conversations are not happening. Remember, what we have taken as an approach as government is that it's a risk-adjusted. Risk-adjusted means that when the risk is higher, then the regulations and the measures put to control will be more stringent. When the risk is lower, then the regulations and the measures put will be lowered so that there's flexibility. So what we are now hoping, and as we open, it will be for NCCC and everybody else to monitor. How we've been working is that after an activity has been done, then there's monitoring, whether it has an impact in terms of that opening, whether it regresses. We see more insurgence of the pandemic. And our hope now is that if we continue at the trajectory that where we are, where we see the numbers going down, we do have a hope that international borders will be open. And when that time comes, I think NCCC and the President will announce it.
Do you think that there would be some exceptions made? So let's take a look at medical tourism, right, which brings a lot of money into this country. Are we likely to see perhaps permission given for those who are traveling for medical reasons, especially from within the SADC region, because that's where a huge chunk of the money is also coming from?
Yeah, that area doesn't really, in terms of the work that we're doing, we've not really formally from the tourism side taken medical tourism as something that we champion and we drive. But we do note that in terms of the continent, we've always seen quite a number of people coming, and it's an opportunity they spend, because when they come here or one relative or family is sick, then they stay in the hotel and they spend in the hotel space. So as we continue to encourage the opening of the sector to opening of the border, we do believe that that's one of the things that should be able to assist. I think it will be difficult for government to say we're opening, for example, the border for particular people and we're not opening for particular people. I think what we should work for, and for us as tourism, what we would want to see is the opening of the borders broadly for everyone, whether they're coming for business, whether they're coming for leisure, whether they're coming for medical attention or whatever. Others that have reached out to me, it's those that says we are abroad or I'm in South Africa and my partner stays in Europe, so we are not able to interact. So there's those dynamics in variety in terms of the international traveling, inbound and outbound. And you would want when it opens for everybody.
Sure. And I hear you on the fact that it's an ongoing conversation which is risk adjusted. But in order for the sector to make a full recovery, when would that need to happen?
For the sector to make a full recovery, because in terms of our projections and our work is that we projected that we'll have domestic recovery coming in and we'll start seeing the full recovery of the sector when as well the international market has been opened. And from our side, we continue to hold our thumbs to say, we're crossing our fingers to see this happening within this year. Whether that will happen, it's up to me and you as South Africans. How we conduct ourselves, how we follow the regulations, making sure that we don't continue the spread of the virus. We can wear our mask, we can sanitize, we can social distance. Those will contribute to more economic activities being opened.
All right. Tourism Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi-Ngubane, let's leave it there for tonight.